from, you're welcome. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Kabari, and I'm your anchor for the program. I'm also the Executive Director of African Focus for Youth Development. It's a non-governmental organization where we tackle issues that have to do with youth, women, and children. Okay, so today we'll be looking at something very important. A lot of times, people who start up small and medium scale businesses have always complained about starting out, getting experiences. Capital has also been one of the very major challenge, or one of the major things they complain about as what is impeding them from starting their businesses. But we all know that we can't all have white collar jobs, the 9-to-5 jobs, as it is being said. And that's why today we'll be looking at what are the challenges of starting up a business. How can you cope? How can you run the business? And it's not just starting up a business that's a problem. Sometimes you need extra effort to stay in the business and expound, So talking with a lot of people over time, especially for entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, we've seen that they start up a business and maybe borrowing money from friends and family, and a year down the lane, it fizzles off and all that. And that's why we're bringing in an expert who's also a consultant to do all this. My very good friend is an American, but based in the Asia and Philippines, to be precise. Very hardworking. He's got so much portfolio. I know he'll be coming on to talk about himself, but just a little to say, he's an author. He's also an on-air personality like me. Very vibrant brother, full of life and energy, does a whole lot. Very, very energetic. Anyway, let me put him on, and then we'll get to hear from my brother from another mother. How are you doing, Kareem?
I am good. I'm good. How are you doing? Can you hear me real good? Can you hear me all the way in Nigeria?
Yeah. Yes, I can. And the whole of Africa is saying, hello, Kareem.
Oh, my God. It's so nice. It's so nice to be back virtually.
Yeah.
You know that I lived in Nigeria for a while, right?
Okay.
I lived in Nigeria for a while.
You told me that when we had a conversation some time back.
Yes. Beautiful, life-changing. As a Black American young child, I went to the American International School there in Lagos. I lived in Victory Island. I lived also in Ikeja. My family had a business there. This is way back in the day. So my godfather was General Adekula. So you know what year that was, wow. Right? Yeah. Wow. So, yeah. But it was life-changing. It was when I went back to the States in elementary school, being in Africa, seeing all the beautiful Black people, brothers and sisters running the banks, the president, even though there was some drama in Nigeria, back in the day, right?
There's always drama. But
it was still Black people's drama. It wasn't like you could blame anybody. It was for you, by you, created by you. So it was a wonderful experience. And it changed my life, Emmanuel. It changed my life. My whole perspective was changed. And a lot of times in America right now, they call that woke, So I've been woke since I was in elementary school, thanks to living in Nigeria for a while.
Wow. Okay. I would want some of our viewers who are seeing you for the first time to have an extensive knowledge about you. You are doing so many things at the same time. At times I just look at and I'm asking, where is this guy getting all the energy from? How has it been for you? And how are you able to come up with so many things, being an on-air personality, producing your own show, having to author a book, you're doing editing, you're doing video stuff, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing magazines. How has it been for you? Who is Kareem?
Well, mainly, brother, you know what? I went to Africa as a kid, like I told you. My family is an entrepreneurship family, but of course, most Black Americans back in the 60s and 70s, like my father and my grandfather, my grandmother, and then my father and uncles and aunties, being Black American, they couldn't get good jobs in America back in the day. So they had to create their own businesses. And my story as a kid, and I'll say this because you're in Nigeria, the blessing with my family being a Black American, slave, racism, the history, right? But my father and my stepmother My parents are divorced. I'm from a broken home, which is not a negative thing to me, but for some people, they look at that as negative. My father and my stepmother went to Nigeria for a wedding. This is this is maybe 75. I don't even remember what year it was. And my father, being the entrepreneur that he took his tool bag. He was in construction, building homes and things like that. And just in case there was an opportunity, and then, God blessed him. And then Nigeria gave him a lot of opportunities back in the day. And he stayed and built a big company there. I don't know if is Acme Furniture still around?
Not really now.
Okay.
Another name, yeah.
My father was the one that launched Acme Furniture for the rich family who owned it. So Acme Furniture back in the day was what my family was there building for them. It was when they let go of all the tariffs and all of a sudden Africa could export, furniture and manufacturing. That's when we went back to Africa. And so I was blessed to then later go to Africa and then grow up there. But energy wise, I need more energy, bro. I need to do more. I'm not doing enough. What are you talking about? I need to do more stuff.
But how do you put all this together? I mean, how do you find time to write? My friend in Ghana has been trying to put me together and say, you know what? You've traveled a lot. You've had a lot of experiences that young people need and other people need to read about and get inspired. Just put thoughts to paper and let me do. But I just can't find that time to sit down. And when I see you write and do other stuff, I'm like, where is Kareem getting all this energy from? Bro, you are trying.
You know what? Is it I take my vitamins every day. I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight to get some more energy. But the truth of it is, as an entrepreneur, you need to have the energy, You can't just sit in a room or go sit in the bathroom, take a smoke break and make your money. So unlike when you're a working person, working class, and you have a job, the benefit to a job is that if you're sick, you can have a sick day, or you can call in, you can be late, you can go to work hungover. If you don't feel like working for the day, you can go in the bathroom, or you can hide out, or you can do crap at your desk and do nothing, or sit at the store and just sit there and not really talk to customers for a while. Where when you're an owner, you need to lead by example, for one, but
True.
then two, you're always worried about paying the freaking rent.
True.
So,
I'm not an easy one.
Yeah. Business gets me out of bed every day. I have no boss, but I'm up 6:30, 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30 every day on my own, no alarm clock, thinking about my businesses.
Wow.
What's next? Yeah, you have to, man. But that's the blessing too, by the way.
True.
The blessing is that every hour I work is for me.
Yeah, and then you see the fruit of your labor. So it's not like you're working and plowing it to someone. So as much as you're able to give in it, as much energy, you're able to see the reward of your labor. It's a very good one, Kareem. Okay, so we'll be looking at the challenges that people face in business. You have been a serial entrepreneur and do a whole lot of consultancy for other people. Now, why do you think people quit from their business even before they start? Because going by some of the things, I'll be coming to read some of the messages that some of the fans dropped in here. But I just noticed that reading from their messages before we even came on air, it just dawned on me that some people quit even before they give a try to business. And, business is not for the feeble-minded, because there are, unlike a paid job where whether businesses come or you make profit or not, at the end of the day or at the end of 2 weeks or the end of the month, you're going to get your pay. But, business needs a whole lot, like you said, you need a whole lot of energy. So why do people even give up before they face the challenge of business?
Well, I've got three answers for that. Okay. First is we need to clarify the difference between entrepreneurship and owning a business. One, if you're an entrepreneur, you can't give up. It's who you are. There's even if you make 1 naira or a million naira, you won't quit because it's who you are. If you're in it for business to be pretentious or to make money or to say I own a business, you give up because it's hard. It's much with my skills, I would be much better, especially abroad, outside the US. I could make more cash working, even in Nigeria, right? I could go to Nigeria and have a great job somewhere, making a bunch of money, have a driver, have security and all of that. But for me, that's not, I want freedom. I don't care about the money as much. I hope that I get rich. I hope that I have a return. I hope that someday, but that to me is a hope. It's a plan or a goal. But me being free is most important. And I think for the regular person, maybe you want to be free because you have kids at home, right? And you want to be home with them, or you have a family and you want to leave them a legacy or a business. Maybe that's what inspires you. But I'll say this to you guys that are listening. If you quit before you start, then you need to go get a job. Don't even come back. Don't try it. Don't think
It's
twice.
not your thing.
It's not your thing. It's like if you're quitting before you even start, then keep quitting. Don't come back. Because all you're gonna do is bankruptcy yourself. You're gonna go ahead and be stressed out. You're gonna let down all your employees, and you're gonna, be depressed. So you might as well go get a job, get you a paycheck, and know that you have this money every week or every 2 weeks, every month, and then focus on that. Help guys like you and me build their business, right? Because that may be your thing. There's Batman, but there's also Robin. you know what I'm saying? So, if you're Robin, then be Robin, right? And if you know that's who you are, then when you walk in the room, say hello, CEO or entrepreneur or Emmanuel or Kareem. I really don't like to be in the front. The responsibility is really hard on me. I can't think up new marketing every day. I can't write. I can't do all the things it takes to be an entrepreneur. I really need a paycheck because my mother's sick, my grandmother, I have kids, whatever it is. But I'm willing to help you build your vision, give you my talents, and pay me. And that's great because we need employees, right? We need some contractor. We need to outsource. So there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going into business and you're quitting already, Emmanuel,
not the thing. Yeah.
Okay. American, brother.
Yeah.
Stay your ass at a job then. Don't even think about it. Just turn this off and go get a job application video.
9 to 5.
9 to 5, no stress. You just gotta go to work. If they don't pay you, you can call the police. You have rights. Keep that, because in the day, entrepreneurship is not easy at all. True. And you can make more money as an employee. To be honest, you can make more cash as an employee than 80% of entrepreneurs. True. So you might as well think about that if you're not going to be the best restaurant or canteen or bar in your neighborhood, and you're just going to do it because you want to have a little business, then just go work at a bar. Go work at the Holiday Inn. Don't open a business, go through all the stress, because if you're going to quit before you start, then you didn't never start anyway.
True. Okay. The program is Shagalinku, and in case you just joined us, well, you've not missed out a whole lot. We're just starting off and trying to lay introductions and trying to lay foundations on what we'll be looking at today. The Tuesday's edition of the show, we're looking at what are the challenges of business, how can entrepreneurs be able to weather the storm. Sometimes they get into business and they get discouraged along the way. And just like my guest Kareem, all the way from Philippines, is trying to let us know that if you're not strong-hearted, then just go get a 9 to 5 job, because it's not for the weak. You can drop your comments on the comment sections, questions, opinions, and what you have for my guest. He's really, really loaded. He's been in this thing for a whole long while. Along the way, we'll be talking to him about his outsourcing deals, his journey into the media, both the print and now coming into the electronic world and doing so well with his programs as well.
So exciting. Oh my God, so exciting.
We'll be talking about that shortly. But let me read a few messages here, and then we'll come back and we'll ask you a few things, because you mentioned something that's very important. There's a difference between being an entrepreneur and someone just being in business, because people also confuse all that. And I like the fact that you're a serial entrepreneur. Sometime last year, I was in a space and young people were arguing who a serial entrepreneur is and all that. And a lady said that you can't be a serial entrepreneur if you're just doing one thing. You need to be doing so many things that are successful for you to be called a serial entrepreneur. And that defines you, Kareem.
It's true. I mean, I've been in business, Emmanuel, since I was in elementary school. I had my first business in grade 6. I
Oh,
cut grass. I had a
oh,
business partner who was also in grade 6, a white dude or white kid. And I cut grass. And literally at that time, my business plan was very simple. I just wanted to buy CDs and Vans, tennis shoes, and things like that. But I was very clear that it was a business. I had flyers printed. I went door to door. I'll cut your grass. I'll paint your house. In America, they have the yards and they have to maintain them. And there's no houseboys. There's no butlers. There's none of that. So you have to have someone do it. And I did it. I took my
wow.
parents' lawnmower and their tools for our home, right? And we would walk the streets and I did that. And that company, funny enough, eventually turned into a big business that I actually sold years and years later. Funny enough. But in
Yeah,
6th grade, if you have it in you, you have it in you. You don't care if you're rich or not. You just don't want to work for anyone else. That's the
true.
thing. That doesn't matter what you make. You don't care. And then eventually you become successful. And people that want to have a business, they forget that entrepreneurship has nothing to do with business. I don't like business. If someone asks me, Emmanuel, I hate business. I'm not good at it. That's not my thing. I'm not good at running a business every day, the same business, right? That's the entrepreneurship side. And that's why I do a lot of consulting. I'm better at having multiple businesses, multiple things, and then I enjoy the excitement of growth and development and like that. But running day to day, manage it,
It
I'll
could be a
hire
pain.
or to
It
run it. I'll
could be a
hire
pain.
somebody. Yeah.
Okay, Karim, let's read a few messages here now. Anyway, I got one here on the screen and it's from Julius Molina. It says, "You both sound great." Yay!
Thank you, Nicholas. I
That's the power
appreciate that.
of the Black brothers.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And okay, so let me read a few on that came on the flyers. This one is from Emmanuel Bayo. It says, "Good day, presenters. I think the challenge of starting or doing business is lack of capital. Most of our teaming youth have many business plans and ideas running in their heads, but the money or capital to initiate the business is a very big challenge, and the banks are literally doing nothing to help. Banks will set bogus requirements as documents and collaterals, which make the banks practically impossible for small or medium scale business initiators to approach. I pray something is done fast to ease this problem for us." What do you think about that?
Well, I wish that he was live so I could ask him a few questions. But when I get people, clients that would ask me that question when consulting, one thing is, okay, so you're not an entrepreneur, you're a business person. Two, Emmanuel, I've never had a bank loan in my life. I've never used a credit card to actually fund a business initially. I may have did it on my own money, then it was going good. Then I may have used a credit card or had a partner or something like that that invested in me, but I never, ever, ever have started a business with debt. I don't believe in that. If you can't grow that business on your own from 0 to 50, maybe 0 to 60, then what the hell are you taking someone else's money for? Why would you get into a bank loan if you can't even sell enough, right? Or produce enough to make that money on your own? Um, Let me give you an example, Emmanuel. What's his name again? I'm sorry. What's the question's name?
Emmanuel, his name is Emmanuel Bayo. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought, okay. Well, Emmanuel, or say, let's call him Manny. Manny and Emmanuel. Emmanuel, tell Manny that one, what do you need bank financing for? What are you doing that's so big that you need bank financing or investors and things like that? Now, mind you, I have had bank loans like for cars and things like that, or I have had many investors in my lifetime, many partners. I have partners now, right? I can't own a business in the Philippines, right? So I have partners in the Philippines to operate through for my business. When it comes down to it, why are you asking for a bank loan? What are you doing? I don't understand why you would do that. Because one, if you're selling enough, what do you need a loan for? Keep selling. And let me tell you why I say that too, Emmanuel, and to Manny too. If you know this history in America, Black Americans, we were slaves, right? We were Negroes, niggas. They treated us like crap. We never could get a bank loan. That was just impossible. That wasn't even an option for us, until recently, the last 20, 30, 40 years, could a Black American even walk into a bank and get an account, right? In my lifetime, my generation. So that was never an option. So the benefit to that ends up being that now during this recession thing or the recession of 2018, and then now there's the pandemic, most Black businesses like myself, we never had debt besides our own. I'm not calling, if your mother loans you 10,000 Naira, that's not called debt to me. That's not a bank that's going to take your home. You know what I'm saying? That's not a partner that's going to close you down. That's just a friend. But the point is that the banks, one is you need to go and build your business to where you're making enough money to live, work off of that business full time on your own, where you don't need the bank. Then you get the bank loan because you want to grow that business to be, maybe you're on one street in Nigeria, or maybe you're in Ikeja or something, right? And then now you want to go to Lagos. Now you might need an investor or a loan, or maybe you want to manufacture and distribute nationally all over Nigeria, right? Or all over the continent of Africa. Okay, that's different. But to tell me that you can't do your business without a loan, something's wrong with your business plan in your mind. Because what do you need a loan for to just do a business? Maybe you're pretentious, right? And you want to have a paycheck and live your life the way you're used to it and then do the business too. Maybe you don't really believe in yourself enough. So then you want to go ahead and use their money and not risk your own, right? But all of those things are not a reason to get into debt and to owe someone, because at the end of the day, you know what that means? You're working, you have a job now. You're working for the bank, right? You can't change your mind. You can't change your business plan. If you get government money, right, they're in your deals. They regulate who your customers are, right? So there's a lot of reasons to bootstrap that business from the beginning, even if it's a small enough amount to where you can prove to yourself, because I've never needed a loan from a bank. And I've tried a few times to get them. I have tried. I'm very good at writing business plans and marketing plans, but I just don't believe in that now at my older age. I really look back like, gosh, man, if I would have taken that loan or gotten that grant or used that card for this, I wouldn't be able to travel the world now. I'd be stuck in that business. So when things changed, right, I just couldn't say, let's go. I have to call the bank, call the investor, right? Things like that. So get rid of my house, right? Whereas I'm curious to see what they're talking about. And if they're in a business where they feel that they can't do it without financing from the bank or from an investor to get started, maybe they're in the wrong business. Maybe they're thinking of something else that they can start on their own to get the experience and the capital, and then maybe go into the other business. But do not take a loan to start. You're just, that's a job. Doesn't make sense to me. Sorry, that doesn't make sense to me. Don't do it.
Okay.
I know this is happening in Nigeria too, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
They're offering a lot of businesses these grants and these loans, right, from these outside countries and these different banks to get entrepreneurs in Nigeria, right, to be able to start their business, right? Don't take that money. Don't take it unless you're already open and you're going to use it to expand. That's different. But do not take someone's money when you're just starting, because you do not know if it's going to be successful or not. You don't know what the value even is, right? So how are you going to give away equity to someone or say that you're going to pay someone back at the bank on this much per month and you can't even pay yourself?
True. Okay, so let me read some more messages here. I got this one from Mbotus Ubuli. It says, seriously, the problem people are facing when it comes to small businesses in Nigeria and in Africa is the government. Failure to regulate price control, equal tax payment, rates, charges for both small and large business owners, cost of raw materials, and same business competitors. So looking at these critically, you will discover that most of these small businesses are either falling or not growing because of household expenses. Whereas what is gotten from such businesses as profit would not be enough to manage our needs. And before you know it, we have already eaten the startup capital. Besides, banks are also not helping matters, because of the interest rate charges on customers loaned are too much. So if government can come in order to fix things right, then small scale businesses might survive in our country, sir, from Mr. Mbotus. I think here he's talking about tax payments, and I've heard a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs complain about tax. There's so many people are paying multiple tax at the same time. So you pay for the local government, you pay for the state, you're paying for the federal. At the end of the day, you might be making a lot, but at the end of the day, when you now narrow it down and remove all your expenditures or expenses, you're beginning to and then we have the issue of inconsistent power supply. So that is another challenge because you find you're running majorly on generator, and then there's a lot of fuel to consume and all that. So I can understand what Ubili is trying to say, but what's your take on, especially when it comes to taxation?
You know, I lived in Nigeria, of course. I remember Napa. Can you get that volume, Joe, please? I got Napa. I remember Napa. I remember the lights being out. So I do understand what that is. We had a business there, and we were highly regulated. We had to pay off people. You know, this is back in the day, so I understand that. But I'm going to say this: it sounds like he's talking about a mid-sized business, first of all, and if you can't afford to do the things that need to be done to have that business to grow where you need, and then you need the bank's money, then, bro, you need to really rethink your business. You really need to think that I don't look. The bank doesn't owe you anything. The government doesn't owe you anything. So you can't go into a business and your business model is get money from the bank. You know what I'm saying? That can't be your business model. It needs to be, if you're going to sell something, for example, like a pair of shoes, for example, or have a shoe store, then maybe you need to start selling one pair of shoes at a time from your home. Then when you know that you're selling a lot of shoes or you have other stores, then you grow, then you grow, then you grow,
You
right?
could even start online.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
You
exactly.
could even start online, yeah.
Exactly, because nowadays, what we didn't have back in the day when we were younger, there was no online. There was no, the reason our family was successful in Nigeria was because we were one of the first families there exporting from Africa to America. We exported furniture, by the way. We made manufactured furniture, and we sent it to America. They sold it in showrooms, right? And then after that, they went to Sri Lanka, did it, and India did made furniture, things like that. But now it's not about opening a business and doing the business that you want to open. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the business is, you need to research what is the easiest business. What can you start very simply? And then do that. Don't look inward, look outward. Like if you're saying, if you can start online for easy or for cheap, right? Then you need to do that. If you can, because otherwise you're going to be, it's not about getting a loan. People, when they say the word, give me money from the bank or give me money from the government, it's still a loan. Doesn't matter who you get it from. You are now in debt for a company that you don't even know if it's going to succeed or not. So if it doesn't succeed, then what happens? Do you lose your home? Do you go to jail? Right? Do they beat you up? What do they do? So my thing is that, and I say this, I'm gonna say it again, Emmanuel. Maybe they would not want to hear it. Do not open a business and think that you need a bank loan. Don't think that. I know in a lot of places, especially in America, they're always saying the same thing because in America, loans or debt is a very popular tax write-off way to start your business. And if you do fail, you can bankruptcy. But most Black Americans could not get loans anyway. So now that when 2018 happened, for example, and the recession happened, that's when I outsourced my business, by the way, about 10 years ago. When that happened, it, it changed everything because now all of a sudden, all the folks that were, you know what, and this pandemic that's happening right now, right?
Yeah.
The folks in Nigeria who have the small, rinky-dink, ghetto neighborhood business that you never thought about before are the ones who are open. The big ones with the Mercedes and the showing off and the great big desk, right? Those guys are hemorrhaging money right now because they have so much debt. Am I correct? Whereas the other guys who just cooked food in the front of their house, or sold shoes online, or did hair in their home, or had the small nail
makeup
salon.
artist and all that. Yeah.
Exactly. Those guys now have a chance to kick ass on all the other guys because they are debt free. All they need to do now is pay their food, their rent. That's it. Pay their
They are
salary.
good to go.
And understand this. That's whenever I opened a business, whether I made $1 million or $1, my goal was always to eat. That's it. My initial goal, no matter what company it was, if I launched a magazine, as you said before, I've had estate management companies, I've had limousine companies, all of those businesses, my pure goal, I swear to you, Emmanuel, if I can just do XYZ and make enough money to eat, that was my goal, because my focus was not having to have a job. It wasn't trying to live off of it and feed my wife and that's impossible. You can't get into business to be rich. That's not going to happen. Hopefully, if you're good at business, you can become rich, but that cannot be your driving force because you'll quit. It's hard. And so I just tell that person that's saying that again, forget the banks, bro. Nigeria, like you. I mean, I understand if you're a not-for-profit like you, or NGO, right? Like you. But at the end of the day, business, if you're a true entrepreneur, the whole point is, can you feed yourself and your family or whoever you have? That's it. And so maybe you're going to work a job part-time and have a business part-time. And you're going to do that until you make enough money, right? Or, many stories, if you look at especially Black Americans, we've lived in our cars. I say we because I've done the same thing. We've had our water turned off, our lights turned off. We've been evicted from our homes, but we've never lost our business. You know what I'm saying?
True.
It's like no one knows that your home is, your water's off, your electricity's off, and you're 3 months behind in your rent. But when they go to your restaurant, service is great, your water's on. You know what I'm saying? Because eventually you can buy another apartment, or you can fix up your life personally, but you got to maintain that business. And if you take the money from the business, even if it's a loan, especially like the guy said it, that you use the money from the loan, and then you take the money from the business and you go and put it into your personal, and you don't pay your business, and your business closes down, now you're an embezzlement guy, which is illegal.
You can't find your feet anywhere anymore.
Yeah. So then what happens is your focus is wrong. Do not embezzle from yourself. I mean, I would rather you give up your home and live in your shop, if that's the case. Because at the end of the day, the asset is the business. And you, because you're one working the business, but that's the whole point. And again, I'm just going to say, Manuel, I don't understand the whole fixation. I saw those comments with the bank loans. I don't understand that. I've never had one. I busted my ass, you're seeing. I find the energy, and I prefer it. And now that this pandemic has happened, a lot of my friends back home who are driving around in fabulous cars, living in fabulous homes, they're calling me like, man, where are you living? Because I'm about to lose everything, because they have so much debt that they can't.
And then there's no peace of mind. The interest keep going higher and higher as you keep defaulting. And then at the end of the day, you're not even having joy. You're not even enjoying the business you took the loans for. So I understand. But Kareem, let's even come to a very vital aspect as well. Sometimes when we talk about entrepreneurial skills and all that, we don't also remember the women folk. A lot of them are also business inclined. They have that, God has endowed them with a whole lot of skills when it comes to entrepreneurial capacity, Well, you've also been consulting for a whole lot of people when it comes to women empowerment. How do you think women can begin to harness their entrepreneurial skills so they could also, like in Africa, they have this issue of many men not wanting their wives to do a 9-to-5 job. They feel that their wives will mingle with other people, and then cases of infidelity. So when you find a whole lot of marital brouhaha, it's as a result of not really having to trust your partner. So some men will say, you know what, stay back at home and take care of the children. But we're also asking that, we're also telling women that even from the home front, there's a whole lot you can do from the home front. If you have that skill, there are things you can do. So for instance, someone who read English or who read Spanish or who read French can actually be an interpreter, do a whole lot on online stuff, be a producer, edit for people. So there are a lot that people can do. But let's just look at women in entrepreneurial skills. What would you advise for us to see more women have businesses?
Well, I'm raised by all female entrepreneurs. My great grandmother, my grandmother, my great aunt, my mom are all business women. Many of my clients, my top clients, are women. Um, and it's kind of new for America, but abroad, like in Asia or Africa, or many women have already been presidents, for example, in Asia, things like that. Where America, they haven't. Um, and I will say this for the women: if your man is insecure about you and you want to get into business for your man, that's a hard one. Um, but I will say this: my first business, like I told you, was an elementary school. I cleaned the outside of homes. So I turned that into a business. Even if you're a maid or a cook for someone, if you're an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur. You feel me? You can be a maid for a home, and then what changes it from being a maid to being an entrepreneur is maybe you don't live in the home. You just go there for 1 or 2 hours a day, right? So then why not have 10 homes? Because the difference between an entrepreneur and an employee is the fact that an entrepreneur knows how to sell. Employee
Multiply and
sell
multiply.
themselves. Yeah. So if you can sell to the one home and you're only doing it for 2 or 3 hours a day, and then you have 8 hours or 9 hours a day that you can be away, then that means that all of a sudden, right, you need to get 2 or 3 more clients per day. So if that's 3 hours a week, per home, you get 2 or 3 per day. So then you need to sell 10, 15, 20 clients, and whatever you're making, then that becomes a business. And then what happens is eventually, once you turn that into a business and you have the clients, your value goes up because most of the time workers can't sell, but they can work, right? So then what happens is now you get an assistant, right? Because now you want to do the homes faster. You want to do them better. So you now have an assistant. So now you share your money with your assistant. And then the assistant then becomes a supervisor. And then you hire someone else. And then now you focus on service and checking them or driving them around. And it evolves into the business. But our right, given by God, no one can take this right from you, is entrepreneurship. Jesus was an entrepreneur, as was Muhammad, whoever you're looking at, right? Jesus was a carpenter, right? So at the end of the day, that is where it starts. The difference is the mentality that you have. If you're a cook for a family, okay, a cook cooks for the family, you make that money, you're done. You don't think about it anymore. An entrepreneur says, okay, well, I cook for the family. I have 4 hours a day that I'm not doing anything. So instead of watching TV or YouTube or smoking or going to the club or whatever, you go and get another client. Now you have two families you're cooking for. So now it's Mrs. B's cooking service, not I'm a cook. I think the switch in the paradigm is where a lot of women miss it because they don't understand that everything that you do as a wife or a mother is a business. In America, no, there is no moms at home. They have daycares, they have nannies, right? They have the Boys and Girls Club, things like that. There is no wife cooking meals for you at home usually. I didn't have one. My mother, they were in business. They didn't cook, right? So that's a chef, that's a cook, that's a delivery, that's a home, cooking business, cleaning the home, right? That's another one, that we didn't, my mom couldn't do that. I never saw her with a vacuum. She was a businesswoman, right? But we had a maid that came by 2, 3 times a week. So everything that you've learned in the home are businesses outside of the home, but they really take for granted the skills that they learn in the home, and men included, by the way. Butler is a very big, it's a very big career. And if you if you learn it and you realize that that's a job, then you can leave your home and you can go be a butler somewhere. So a lot of them, I think, would be the big difference. I think between a working class person and an entrepreneur is the sales. That if you can't sell, you can't be an entrepreneur
Yeah.
because at the end of
Carry,
the day, I could have a company that cleans homes and never ever clean a home. You feel me?
yeah, yeah,
But if you know how to sell right and build a business, and that's the core of the business. So women have an advantage over men because most of the time they know how to do all the things that rich families don't do, but they may not think of it, or they may not be big enough for them, or they want to be able to look rich and look cute and look like an entrepreneur. Forget that crap.
yeah, yeah.
You,
So
I'm sorry.
So yeah, yeah. Let's also look at this aspect. I watch your shows a lot, and you always talk about your sojourn to Asia. I want you to tell people about that because a lot of times the journey is tilted towards where you were living. and, and there's the American dream, so everyone would be tilting towards the angle you are now living from towards another continent. Now, what I know there's been stories about your sojourn to the Asia, but what basically was it for you? Because for some people who may not understand your dream, who may not understand your passion of saying, you know what, I've been there, I've done that. I think it's time to explore another continent. I think it's time to explore another me. They were like, is Kareem crazy? Why would you be wanting to do all this? And also, how did it start for you? And how were you able to settle down basically in the Philistine?
Okay, well, one thing I think I know what you're getting at. I know a lot of Africans, and I've seen, especially Nigerians. One of my godfathers in the states is Nigerian. His name is Chuck Chianuma, the Chianuma family from Nigeria. Wealthy family there in Nigeria now. But I think that they see that, or they think that they can leave Nigeria, they can go to America or Europe or anywhere else, and then all of a sudden they're going to be living like kings and queens, and they can show off and they can be on Facebook and have all this stuff. One, that's not true. They forget there's racism, okay, and they may do okay. They may get lucky and do okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've lived all over the world. I've lived in Paris. I lived in France. I lived in Italy. I've lived in Mexico. I've lived in Puerto Rico. I've lived in Asia. I've lived in the Philippines now. I've lived in Nigeria, of course, and always doing business. By the way, I've always done business. My family's always been in business. My father's never had a job, so I was from that business-minded type family. But I will say this: is that I don't want to be harsh and say that if if you can't survive where you're at, then the odds of you doing well outside the country, especially in America as a black person, is against you. Now, if you are the person that is inspired by being outside, you feel me? That might be like maybe you will be different if you're outside than if you're in there, or maybe they will see you different if you're outside of Nigeria or outside of Africa, the continent, and you're in Europe or America, you would do better. But ultimately, I left America because of racism. I got tired of it. My father was in Nigeria when I was a kid because of racism. So it hasn't changed. And racism in America doesn't really kick in until you're successful. It's not, if you work at 7-Eleven or some restaurant, you're not really going to see much racism because you're poor, right? You're broke. You might send home $100 and it converts to Naira, so you look rich, right? But when you're in America, you're poor. And poor in America is a specific number. It doesn't matter what your hair looks like, what your Facebook says. When you turn in your taxes or you have your job, there's a specific number. And if you're poor, you're poor. So what happens is a lot of Africans I see, especially Nigerians I see, that think that you can go to America and do very well. They forget that there is racism. So why do you think a lot of Americans are not even just black, but Americans in general, white included, are going to Asia, going to Europe, going to all these places and becoming very successful? I'll give you another one. Michael Jordan last year, right? You know Michael Jordan, the basketball player, right?
Yeah.
He made more money abroad than in America last year. So people think he's rich because of America, but he's not. You feel me? It's like because of internet and being global and business and things like that, people you think they're making their money where they're making it, but a lot of times they are not. I don't make my money in dollars. You know what I'm saying? That's not my thing, and I purposely don't do that. When I left the States, there was a recession, so there was no money to be made at that time. Now it's kind of doing better, and then now the pandemic came. But the point is, if you can't make it in Nigeria, at least a little bit, then how are you going to make it somewhere else? Unless some people, they get inspired when they're out. You know what I'm saying? They feel free. Maybe they're confined by their neighborhoods and things like that, or they're confined by their caste system, right? Or their class system, or their geographics, and if they can just get free, right? So then it's not really saying that you're going to leave. That's not the truth then. The value is if you can just get free from the shackles you have or the caste system. That doesn't mean America, right? That can mean Asia. You're closer to Asia. You're closer to Nigeria. I mean, to the Philippines or to Singapore, China even, right? But I would say this too. When I see a lot of the Black Africans that are either in Asia or like I see on TV, they're in China, they don't look like they're doing so good to me. You know what? I mean, it's like I don't know the difference of where you're from, right? But my mind always goes to, dude, why are you dealing with China kicking you out of your apartment and discriminating against African people? I saw that on TV, right? Go home. Why are you giving them your money? That's the Black American attitude. I did not want to give them my money anymore. I want to be able to go out. I want to live without racism, specifically racism. I was already successful in the States. I had a home, had cars, had companies, but I was still a nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I got tired of that. And I started seeing that, wow, I could do okay in another country. I wasn't going to get richer. You feel me? I was going to have more freedom to be racist.
Blossom.
Yeah, I wasn't going because I thought that I could live richer in the Philippines no, I was very successful in America already. I already had a car and a home, a business. That wasn't the issue. I was willing to give that up for my freedom. So if they're leaving their country and their family to go abroad, but a lot of countries, the Filipinos do that. They go abroad, they work on ships and things like that, in Dubai and all over the place. They send their money home, and that's their thing. That's their thing, because opportunities maybe don't exist. But at the end of the day, that's a job. Usually, business is not the same. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
even if you're in America and you're working and you have an opportunity, the person that has that business doing that is still richer than you. So the key is, if you're in business, especially with the internet, no one knows where you are anymore. No one knows where you are. They don't even know if you're black or white anymore. You know what I mean? They just go online. They want to buy this pair of shoes, right? And that's it. They may not even know who you are. So,
Yeah.
does that answer your question? I'm sorry. Does that?
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
it did. Yeah.
so I did not leave America to make more money in the Philippines. That was never in my mind. I came here willing to do less, to live broke, but to be free and not have to deal with racism. I mean, it's real, Emmanuel. Blacks get pulled over, they get shot. You guys see the news. It's true. It's completely 100% true. Racism is crazy in the States. And it's worse when you're successful, because now a lot of the white folks are jealous. My grandfather couldn't eat in a restaurant. Now, all of a sudden, the white waitresses are waiting tables on black guys. There's a little emotional thing there. And typically, you don't notice it as a Black American until you get to a certain level where you're like, I could actually live anywhere in the world. I don't need to deal with this in any way. And if I'm going to be struggling and be broke and be hustling, I might as well hustle somewhere on a beach drinking, rum and coke.
Okay, let's come to let's come to your outsourcing. A lot of times people hold on back to businesses where, ironically, whether it's successful or even failing, they hold on tight like someone who's drowning and wouldn't want to outsource. I mean, what are the fears people have about outsourcing? Because the truth is, on the long run, outsourcing gives you that platform. It gives you that peace of mind to be able to do something else while you still know that you're making money from somewhere. So why are people not also, I'm sure when you talk about outsourcing, people are beginning to like, okay, you know what? I think I'm beginning to tilt towards your line. I think I should also outsource. Why are people not taking that into cognizance until they realize that, look at you, you're doing well. I mean, you now have time to do so many other things. And people just feel, okay, when you outsource, it's like you're saying you are being defeated or you are giving up. That is
Oh,
the
really?
mentality some people think, that people will think, they are always conscious of what the other person will think. Okay, people will say, I gave out my business because I can't handle it anymore, or because I'm not succeeding. And they don't know that could also help you focus on other things you can do. At the end of the day, it's a win-win situation when you outsource. So what has the journey been for you, and how did you come to that point where you had to do what you did?
Wow. Okay. I can relate to that. Actually, I can relate to that. I felt that same way, um, but it was different in America. One, I'll give a low plug at KareemAntonio.com. You guys, my website down here below. You can look at my ebooks. I have an outsource everything ebook there. It's like 28 pages. I get all into how I did it, and I did it. And I'll give you three more ways I did it. One is I do relate to the whole ego thing because I originally started outsourcing because my business did go under in the recession in America. And then, but how I got introduced to outsourcing was not in that crisis. Everybody in America was going bankrupt. Every company was going under. I mean, AT&T, Sprint, every big company you knew. I mean, there's no JC Penney anymore. I mean, every company, they bailed out the airlines, they bailed out the car dealership, they bailed out the banks, right? It was everyone, very much like now. So I pretty much sold my business at the time in the States. I had a 10,000 square foot office spaces downtown, my dream place. I had these partners. And like your guys are asking about banks, I had brought in new partners and they had invested cash and I couldn't leave. The recession gave me a way out without filing bankruptcy. You feel me? It was
Yeah.
like everyone I was like, okay, well, everyone's losing, so we might as well just wrap up this thing. So they tried to do it without me. So I walked away. And I'll give you a little history too, Emmanuel, because I'm a very humble person. I left my boardroom with my $5,000 suits, 10,000 square foot apartment, 100 employees. I had a fabulous freaking car, everything. And I went to wait tables at a restaurant, a really nice, expensive restaurant that's very popular in America, the largest restaurant chain in America called the Cheesecake Factory. But still, it was a waiter of the restaurant to reinvent myself and to figure things out and all of that. Because initially, at my business in America in 2015, when the recession hit, outsourcing, it wasn't really illegal, but it was really taboo. Meaning you should always print in America, use American business. We had a magazine. You would print in there in the magazine, made in America, printed in America, right? You should have American employees. When they introduced India, India, we didn't like their accent so much. It was mainly call centers, but I originally started by outsourcing my phones, my secretaries, because that was a big expense for my business in America. The phone systems, maybe it was $5,000 or $10,000. I don't remember. It was some outrageous amount of money for a business to have phone systems. Line one, line two, right? And their secretary had to be there, and they should have a chair, and then they had to have a law, or the chair had to have a lumbar in the back, and it was expensive to have a freaking secretary, right? So, mind you, there was no Uber. There was no Grab food, so you need to have a secretary to kind of organize the food, organize the, the meetings.
Everything, your itinerary.
Yeah. So when I outsourced that, I didn't think of it as outsourcing yet. And I didn't outsource it internationally. I outsourced it. I was in the big city and I outsourced it to the small. It's like that. So that was so then what happened once I did that, the company then went under. And then I walked away. The partners kept it because the issue was, again, they thought that they could run without me. And I was like, okay, if you guys think you can get rid of me, then that's fine. But I knew that the key to business is sales. And I knew every client, the mayor, the governors, the politicians, the big corporations. I knew them all because I built the company myself, right? So when I walked away, and I didn't think they were going to close down, I thought, okay, well, fine. I'll wait tables, and I'm gonna buy. I bought a boat. I went to California, lived in my boat. I had a convertible car. I was like, psh, I've been in business since I was in elementary school, right, Emmanuel? So I had never had a break. Then what happened was the president of the Philippines at the time, President Aquino, this is about 10 years ago, came to New York City, and I was still known as a publisher and media guy in the States, even though I was waiting tables, living on a boat. I was still on the list. I was award winning. I was on the list. But man, I was the happiest waiter, man. Because when you're in business, it's the opposite. I was like, man, working is so easy. You just go to work. If they called you when you were off, you could be like, why are you calling me? I'm off.
And you get paid. You get paid at the end of the day.
I'll work, but I want overtime. You had these different mentality, right? So, brother, what happened was he had asked the publishers in general to market the Philippines positively, and I was really surprised. And remember, America is very racist, Emmanuel, okay? A president, Trump, is not going to call some Black American publisher to help him market to Black community. That's not going to happen. So when this president came and did that, I was like, wow, that's really nice. And besides Africa, right, when I lived there, I didn't know any other place that just would see me as a publisher or a marketer or a business guy and ask me for my help. If they did in America, it was for the Black community specifically, or like that. It wasn't just, you're very good at what you do, I need your help. I don't even see that you're Black. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And at that time, I didn't have dreads. I was clean cut, suit and tie every day. I had no beard. So I thought, well, what the hell is that? And then a friend of mine said, well, you know that the dollar is $50 in the Philippines. And I had never, ever in my career, for some reason, I don't know, I knew about Mexico because it was driving distance from California. I'd never thought about that. And at the same time, the internet had changed everything. And now you could print, sell, have websites all online. So then I thought, well, I'm paying $100,000 per issue for my magazines in the States. Before, remember, I walked away from the company. They were trying to run it. They couldn't do it. So I said, okay, well, maybe I can open another magazine. And when the president of the Philippines came and talked to me and they asked about the marketing, because I was not a publisher, like a regular publisher. I was a guy that would, if you needed to change your image, your brand, you had a bad campaign, I could fix the marketing. And I usually did that by publishing magazines and having media and things like that, events, right? So I was a publisher, but I was more like a fix-it publisher, right?
giving PRO.
I was a PR publisher. I wasn't like a every month magazine guy. So I said, okay, well, I researched online. There was no Philippines magazine at the time. They had no magazine of their own. They had no marketing of their own. Remember, I'm in America, right? So they had no .com. They had none of that stuff. So I originally thought, well, maybe I can outsource to the Philippines and have my magazines printed there for a fraction of the cost. But I still didn't think of it as outsourcing. I thought of it as saving freaking money. You know what I mean? Like, it can't be true because none of my white friends were telling me this. No other publisher was saying this. Even the president of the Philippines didn't say it like that. He didn't say outsource. He just said he meant do blogs or do press releases or do articles or things like that. So when I did the conversion, I said, so I can $15,000, $20,000. My magazines are printed. I said, I just thought this is impossible. There's no way this can't be true. So I developed the whole first issue of the Philippines Magazine International, which was not called, it was called Philippines Magazine at the time. I designed it in LA. I had photographers in the Philippines. I had a studio in the Philippines. I'm waiting tables, Emmanuel. Remember that. I'm waiting tables, and in my days off in the afternoons, I'm waiting tables. Remember, I work at the Cheesecake Factory, so I'm working nighttime, evenings, party after work. Everyone gets drunk after work, typical waiter, right, in California. And I finished the magazine. I sent to the printers, and when I was on my boat, and I had a friend that I stayed with part-time in his home, and they shipped me these magazines from the Philippines to the States, I couldn't believe it. I said, you mean I could write a freaking magazine? Now, I had 30 salespeople, designers. I had 20 graphic designers, 30 salespeople. I had partners. The magazine business in the States was crazy big. Photo shoots, trailers, red carpet parties, All of a sudden, now I can be on a laptop, write a magazine, send it to the Philippines, and they can print it and send it to me on the mail.
And still save costs.
And saved 80%, Emmanuel. I was like, what the? I said, give me
unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
I'm still in LA. I'm waiting tables, getting the magazine, and I swear to Jesus to you, Emmanuel. I get the magazine. I'm reinventing myself. I'm changing my life. I get the first magazine. I'm riding my fixie bicycle, which if you guys know, California, New York, we ride the one-speed bicycles, with the cool vans and the baseball caps backwards. Anyway, I literally delivered the magazines personally to every Filipino business in LA. When I got it from here, I dropped them off at their place. I showcased them. There was a directory in the magazine. I couldn't believe it. So then I left. And the third part of that, to answer your question about the outsourcing, is it mainly outsourcing. If you're not outsourcing, you're really a naive business person at this point in time. This was 10 years ago, Emmanuel. It's a decade ago. So if you're not outsourcing right now, you're way behind. Way behind. Everyone who's rich, tell me what do they make? What is the internet doesn't make anything, right? You use it to build your business, but it doesn't make anything. If you were talking about eBay or any of these online stores where you're going to sell your goods, they don't make anything, right? So nowadays, if you're not outsourcing, you're really naive about what business really is, because ultimately, like I said before, business is sales. So if the key is selling, but I always knew I could sell more graphics design than the graphics designer, even though I didn't do graphics. That was my art, my ego. I would if I got mad at my boardroom, I'd be like, I could sell all you guys' jobs. I don't do anything. That was my get you in the gut type statement, right? Meaning I could fire all of you today and still sell more of what,
and still survive and do much more.
Hire someone else. I rarely said that, but when I got angry, I would remind them, because I was the youngest executive in my own business, right? And so now outsourcing, and if you look at my ebook, Outsource Everything, outsourcing, it's how I got free. I didn't know it was outsourcing. I really wanted to save money. I didn't think the outsourcing wasn't the word. There's a movie called Outsourcing, where the American company goes to India. Have you ever seen that before?
Yeah.
That movie had just come out. So I'm literally watching it's a tutorial. Like, so how do you outsource? What is it? And they were mainly the white old outsourcing, where you went to the country, you got office space or factory space, you used cheap labor because the money went further, and that's what you did. And most people think of that, which that is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is if you are a Nigerian and you want to have your own makeup, why would you make your own makeup? Well, I mean, maybe in a year or 5 years down the road when you really get going, maybe. But right now, you can outsource the manufacturing of your makeup, and all you do is pay for the label, right? Because the point is sales. The makeup is good. The colors are going to be the colors. So why would you have in-house chemists and label designers and manufacturers and jars and all this crap? You can just outsource it, and then if you have a small business like I can't think of one that I know is popular in Nigeria, but now I outsource 90% of my business. I don't do anything. I really never do. Let me tell you this. The funny thing about business is when you're an entrepreneur, you really don't do anything anyway, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You have
Just
staff.
just strategic plannings and all
Yeah.
that,
So
putting
really,
things together and asking people to do what to do. So
you're the leader. You're the
stress free,
leader of the company.
stress free.
So nowadays, what happens with internet and things like that, now you can outsource outside of your company. You don't have to even manage the employees. Because I'm not good at that. That is not my thing. I really like to know that I have designers that I outsource to, and they design my magazines. I pay a flat fee to design a magazine. I pay a flat fee for photography and printing and all those things. So at the end of the day, it's hard for me to lose money. You feel me?
Yeah,
Because I know the bills ahead of time. It's like if you are, okay, I got one for Nigeria. If you're a tailor or a fashion designer, right? Why would you make your own fabric? Why would you even sew yourself? You know what I'm saying? Why would you even? Because at the end of the day, what the money is selling people clothes, and most tailors, most fabric makers, or what do they call it? Textile makers, right? Most all of those people that work for you, they can't sell. That's why, like your first question, they need a job. So they don't understand that, right? They think I just can't make the business work. I can't. No, you can't make it work because you don't make any money. The company might be fine, right? But if you can't sell, you can't eat.
yeah,
So if you're good at that, if people like you, you can go maybe you have a flamboyant personality and you can go to the general or the governor or the president, and you can sell a fabulous agbada or dashiki. You're good at that part. Oh, this is you're good at, but you may not know how to beat it or tailor it. That's fine. Outsource that. Don't even think about it. Focus on getting the customers because ultimately that's how the business survives. And before technology, that wasn't an option, right? You had to have a tailor in the back of the room and sewing machines and fans and fabric. And now there's tons of businesses out there that do all that crap that are going down because their sales are down. So if your sales are up, focus on that. And if you call that outsourcing, right? Okay. But at the end of the day, that's what outsourcing is today. I don't you don't I tell my clients when I meet them, the first question I ask them is, what do you do? Like if you're a restaurant owner, oh, I have a restaurant. But what do you do? Are you the chef?
yeah,
Are you the
yeah,
marketer? Right? Do you own the property? Right? And you don't really know how to cook at all, right? What do you do? I do this. And then usually I say, okay, everything else, outsource it. And most of the time, to be honest, unless you're like me or like they aren't even needed in the company at all. You
true.
can hire someone to run it. You know what I'm saying? You don't even need to be there at all, you know, but maybe they need to be a personality. Maybe they know the proper people to get those things that they need done, like licenses or taxes or things like
Yeah,
that. So focus on that. And usually I ask them, what is it that you really, really do? And everything else, outsource.
good one. Okay. I know I'm gonna have you a second time around. You know, with you, it's never ending conversations, and
My
um,
show is
I
2 hours. That's why.
yeah. With
So
you, it's a never ending
my show is
conversation.
2 hours, 2.5 hours.
So
Plus commercials.
so I know we will come back and still have a talk on another flip side of it all. But as we wrap up now, I want you in a few minutes to talk to young people who are young entrepreneurs who are struggling with because sometimes when the discouragement comes, it just looks like in their mind, are you sure in the right place? Are you sure this will work? Are you sure you shouldn't just go back to another thing? I need you to give them words of encouragement because, like you said, tough times will always come. So the strong entrepreneurs are people who are ready to stay put and be able to walk through whatever challenge that comes because it's really not easy. I'm sure based on your background, you already have some sort of um, inbuilt support, because you've seen it all, your childhood days, your growing up, and then it makes your personality. Other youths might not be as lucky as you are. Like sometimes when we talk about suicidal attempts, people like, why will anybody kill themselves? And I tell them, everyone can't be like you and I that are strong willed. There are people just a little discouragement will just get them shattered. So, what will be your parting word of advice to young entrepreneurs or young people who want to go into entrepreneurial things? Because I still believe that not everyone will do a 9 to 5 job. So, what will be your word of advice?
It's hard to find a job now. It's in America with coronavirus, right? 20 million, 20 million without jobs that were working
Yeah.
6 months ago. Well, my advice is one thing: is that now you're living in an era right now as a young person anywhere in the world that none of us, including Emmanuel, we're too old to even imagine right now the world that you are blessed with because of the technology, cell phones, email, internet. You don't even know what a freaking fax is. Who carries a briefcase anymore, right? I mean, you don't even know any of those things. So the benefit for you is you have more freedom than any other generation before you ever in history. So know that. So don't be defeated. The other thing is to know if you're an entrepreneur, that's a blessing to you. But if you're not an entrepreneur, stop trying to be one. Find what you're
True.
good at. Find what you're successful at. Maybe you're the Batman or maybe you're the Robin. Whichever one you are, be the best at whatever you are. And understand that now with this generation with young people, no matter what the hell you think is going on, you have more advantages than anyone, your grandmother, your father, your auntie, the president. Anyone before you has never had the opportunities you've had at your feet. You phones, cell phones. If you where's my this right here is more powerful. Can you see this? Than any computer that me and Emmanuel had when we were your age. Camera on this phone is better than any camera that Emmanuel, any Vogue, any magazine had when they were your age. The camera on this alone is better than that. The fact that you're connected to internet, even if it's on and off, it's there. That right there alone should inspire you. And if it comes to entrepreneurship as a young person, like I said before, Emmanuel, tell these young folks, be an entrepreneur if you're going to be an entrepreneur, but do not get into entrepreneurship for money. Entrepreneurship
True.
is who you are. It's like you're black. If you're black, you're black. Doesn't matter what happens to you.
It
You're
it
still
runs
going
in
to
the blood. Yeah.
yeah. If I failed and I was willing to come to the Philippines and work at a freaking fry station to be successful, God bless me in a few different ways, but I worked for it. It wasn't an accident. I
Yeah.
came here to this country with $500. I had some other investments. I did some things. I prepared. You feel me? But in my pocket, that's all I had. And mind you, with the conversion rate, that would have lasted me 30 days. I had a back and forth plane ticket for 30 days. If I didn't make it, I can go back home. I could wait tables or go back in business or whatever I was going to do and just fail. I was willing to do that. And if you read the Bible in any way, I know that you do, Emmanuel, you have got to burn your ships. I'm not sure what Psalms that is, but you've got to burn your ships. You cannot, you got to go on the island and win the war.
It's a land of no return.
Yes,
Yeah.
you cannot have a retreat. If you're going to sell shoes, you're going to sell shoes or be homeless. And if you become homeless, you got a story like me when you're 30, 40, 50 years old. But you've got to be willing because people sense confidence. They sense it. When you walk into a room and you're that person sitting on the side smoking a cigarette, and the person's got to ask you, "Oh, mom, can I try on this shirt? Can I try on this blouse?" Or you're the person that when before they even walk in the freaking door, you're like, "Hey, ma'am, how are you? We have shirts today." Those two people are very different people. And if you're not the one who's sitting there every single day, hitting it, if you need an alarm clock to wake up in the morning, you are not an entrepreneur. Okay. If you need to be given a bank loan, you're not an entrepreneur because you've got to be willing to fail. If you're not willing to fail, you just want to show off and tell your friends you own a business. You're not really an entrepreneur. That's not the truth. And I think that that's probably my outing for young people. And the thing is, please understand this. If you're talking crap, feeling sorry for yourself, I'm not sure your exact age, Emmanuel, but Emmanuel had no phone. He had no vans. He had no tennis shoes. He probably didn't even have a computer when he first started out. You didn't know his nothing. Think about it. I mean, these kids have no idea what a fax machine is. Imagine making a
True.
sale. I had to, before, I would have to fly from America to Africa for one meeting. There was no internet. There was no virtual meetings. There was no Zoom or nothing like this.
Yeah.
So you didn't. So if you can't make it right now today, go get a
Too
job.
bad. Thank you so much, Kareem. It's been very awesome having you here. I hope we'll do a part two of this, hopefully as soon as possible. Any word of greetings to anyone you want to before we finally close the program? Is there anybody, any partners that you
Yeah,
want to greet?
I want to plug Julius. I thank you for listening. Julius chimed in earlier. Julius is actually my executive assistant running my magazine in the Philippines, Bulacan Lifestyle Magazine. Thanks for watching, Julius. I see Oliver Eke here. I appreciate the nice comment, Oliver, as well. People, you can go to creamantonio.com. You can see more about it. I'm a down-to-earth, simple guy, Emmanuel. I'm not a pretentious show-off kind of guy. I built it on my own. I don't owe anyone anything, so I don't need to act like anyone. And I just say that you guys, success is for everybody. You can get your success, but maybe you need to change what you think success is. That might be your issue. You cannot compare your success to the other guy's success because, as you said, Emmanuel, he might be dead tomorrow. You don't know what he's feeling. You don't know what he's feeling on the inside. He may be showing you something, and then you think that's the way it is. But then when you get down to it, you may be better off and happier than him, which has happened to me many, many times in my lifetime. I thought that folks are better than me, or happier than me, or richer than me. And then when the crap hit the fan, I found out it was all BS. And at the end of the day, it was credit, it was debt, it was loans. Whereas, guys like you and me were self made. And to be self made, even if you have 1 naira, is richer than the guy in debt for 100,000 naira. So keep that in mind. And I love what you're doing, man. I love your show. I love what you're doing. I love it. I'm glad I was here.
Thank you
Sorry.
so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Before you leave,
Yes, sir.
Oliver Ejiofor just sent in a message. I think we should read this, and could you help me read this, Karim, so you could
Yeah,
respond to
Oliver.
Oliver?
Yeah, it was Oliver says, and where are you? Is Oliver in Nigeria? But Oliver says, how can one disclose a good business idea for sponsorship or partnership for fear of being stolen? How can one get financial sponsorship or partnership for viable, feasible, and innovative business ideas? Oliver, one is not usually in today's time is your idea so original that someone's going to steal it from you. At the end of the day, most people just innovate things that already exist. So forget that fear. If you execute it better than anybody else, starting right now, today, don't hoard it. This is the information age. Put it online, let everyone see it. That's how you get investors. Don't hoard it. Don't keep it in your pocket so no one sees it. Like the Bible says, you've got to let it free and let people see it to see the beauty of it. And then if they like it, they buy into it. The odds of someone stealing the idea from you, I mean, that could happen, but it's kind of hard to steal the idea when you've published it first, when
Yeah.
you put it online first, you have a website or whatever it is first. You can at least go back and say, wait a second, I published this 5 years ago. Here's the record. It's online. Here's the dated upload or whatever it is. So don't think about that. That's old school. Um, because you need to show the idea to get sponsors and to get partnership. And when you do it, I don't know what the idea is, Oliver, but I have always launched my ideas myself without funding. And how I do it: name, logo, marketing plan, slogan, a business plan. It can be one page, Oliver, but a business plan, a marketing page. It could be one page, a marketing plan, and then go out and push it. And whatever it is, get the first two, three, four, five, 10, 20, 100 clients yourself first. Because maybe what you're going to find out is you don't need any sponsors. You don't need a partner. You don't need to prove to anyone it's viable or feasible or innovative because you already have launched it. And even if it's in a very small way. And I'm sorry, Emmanuel, what I do with my magazines, for example, when I launch a new magazine, the first thing I do is the name and the example of the cover. I create the sales and marketing kits first, right? And then I go out and I hit up sponsors and advertisers, things like that. So whatever it is, create it, put it out there. And maybe if you can sell it yourself, you don't need any investors and partners. You don't need any of that. That's all I can say. But the whole idea thing, this is
Yeah.
2020. If the
Yeah.
odds of someone stealing it from you are very hard because you can publish it right now online and it's dated forever. And
And
if someone
and
steals it, you know,
Yeah, and Oliver, just to add to what Karima said, there's really no idea that God hasn't given another person. So no idea is it's novel, so to say. And the more you keep delaying, the more you just find that your idea becomes stale. So an idea is really not an idea until you execute it, like Karim said. So get going with it. That's the only way you could prove to anyone who wants to sponsor. No one wants to put money into something that's just there. Everyone is also looking for money. So to you, your idea might be a very good one. You might end up, when you talk to sponsors, they might just not like your idea. So the point is, it starts with you. If you need to get going with it. If it's a good idea and if it's something workable, sponsors will come for you on their own. They will come and say, can we partner? Because they have seen what you're doing. So it's not just enough to say, I want to run an online boutique, and you don't have a website to showcase it. You don't use your Instagram pages. You don't use your Facebook and all that.
you don't take your
I
risk
mean,
yourself.
yes, you need to execute it, no matter how little it will be, because it's from there that someone can pick it up for you and then take it up. Well, we will still continue in these discussions. It's ongoing and it's unending, and hopefully I will have Karim come a second time to trash some more angles that we couldn't take because of the time. So thanks everyone who's joined us. Thanks to the videos will still be here after the show, and it will be on our YouTube page, Shagalinku TV. And from Karim's end, it will also be there. We'll just share the videos around. So for people who missed out and the time zones that are also different, some people are sleeping right now. So when they wake up, they can watch. So Karim, thanks once again for being my guest. I had a swell time having this conversation with you.
Ambassador Emmanuel, thank you very much as well. And I congratulate what you're doing. And the kids, the entrepreneurs, I'm so glad you're doing this. I had no one like you when I was younger. So, well, my family, I had my family, but you know how that goes. So I didn't have anything besides my family. So it's really nice that they have someone like you doing this. So I appreciate it. And have a good day in Nigeria, by the way. I think it's just afternoon for
Yes.
you, right?
Yes. And what time is it over there now?
It's 10:30 p.m. here.
Ooh, okay.
And
Mama's
America
calling.
is 2:30 a.m.
Mama's calling. Time to go to bed.
I know, right? I know. They're like, oh, it's so late. Yeah, it's late. Yeah.
Thank you
But
so much, Karim.
I appreciate it. You have a
Yeah.
good day. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Yeah, bye. So thanks to everyone who watched. Till we see you on the Saturday's edition of the program. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari, and urging you to have a beautiful Tuesday and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.